Welcome again to another live mentorship lesson. And today I want to talk about a topic I absolutely love, and it's called imagination. Remember to subscribe and follow here on my YouTube and social media for free mentorship because I do these lessons practically daily or weekly, depending on the situation. Like right now, Hurricane Beryl is touching down where I am in the Caribbean. However, I'm on this live because I want to be true to my word and commitment to myself and to others. Whether or not a hurricane is here or not is irrelevant. And so that's where the imagination comes in. I was recently meditating and thinking about how my imagination has served me over the years, and it's absolutely remarkable as I look back on my journey and my life so far with how my imagination has been a powerful asset and is also come to my rescue, and it's also served me, and it's also been my companion through very difficult times. And I'm going to share some stories today with you to let you know that wherever you live in the world, your imagination can serve you powerfully. Sometimes you see people talking about, oh my God, I wish I can go to Canada, or I wish I could move to the US or the UK or some other part of the world because economically things are better. Well, do you know there are people that are living all over the world in different parts of the world that are using their imagination and their dreaming ability to create whatever they want in India, South Africa, Asia, Latin America, the Pacific Rim, all over the world. They don't necessarily have to be in Canada, the US, or the UK, or some flourishing country that they think, unless they're there, they can do better. You don't necessarily have to be there. Like I've lived in Canada, I've lived in the US, I've lived in Mexico, I've lived in the Caribbean, and wherever I am, there's one thing I have with me all the time is my imagination. So today's lesson, I want to encourage you that whatever you think is not possible for you, it is. It is. However, you need to understand and be able to master using your imagination more fully. I look at a lot of people, and sometimes I have conversations with people where they look externally with what's going on around them in order to take action, in order to make things happen. And so they're constantly being affected by what's going on externally. Like I said today, right now in the Caribbean where I am, on the island I'm at, Hurricane Beryl is currently doing its thing. However, that doesn't affect me. As long as I have internet and power, obviously I'm able to do this live, but it doesn't take away from my imagination to keep in action, to keep creating for myself, even through a Category 4 hurricane. And so when you look at the hurricanes that are going on in your life, wherever you are in the world, are you using your imagination? Let me share a couple stories with you so you understand. I migrated to Canada when I was 18, and I went in winter. So just picture for yourself this kid from a tropical island who's just been used to shorts and flip-flops and t-shirts moving to a temperate country, which is part of the North American chain, in winter. Now, for those of you who have been to Toronto winter, it's brutal. I had no winter clothing with me. I went with my tropical stuff, right? So imagine how that was for me. However, I was able to tap into my imagination and figure things out, and ended up living 35 years in a very cold part of the world. I've also started businesses in Canada. My very first business, I used to collect coins. When you go to someone's home and you dip into the cushion and the couch and you grab coins, or you collect beer bottles and beer cans and sell them for money. People used to make fun of me. But I let my imagination work for me because I thought, what if I could save up my money and buy what's called an Apple computer? Because my friend Andy and I were talking about starting an Apple computer business. And back then I didn't even know what an Apple computer was. But he said, Anil, it's going to become a booming commodity. And so I did that. I used to collect coins, sell beer bottles, beer cans. Whenever I went to house parties, I used to ask the host, can I take the empty bottles with me? And they used to be like, Anil, are you struggling financially? I go, no, it's something I'm creating. But I want to be creative using my imagination and not be wasteful, because you're going to throw these bottles and cans out, right? And they go, yeah. And I go, well, I have no shame. I'm okay taking this off your hands. And so I collected beer bottles and beer cans and sold them. Bought my first computer. I remember finding it in a newspaper. I got a deal. Sold that, bought two. Sold those, bought five. Sold the five, bought 10. And eventually I was managing 4 stores, 30 employees, and I had a warehouse of computers, and I had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients all over North America. In fact, I used to get into my vehicle and drive to Montreal and Chicago, Illinois, and other parts of North America to pick up computers and bring them back across the border and resell them. And it was my imagination that kept me going. That's just one story when I first migrated to Canada. And that career took me to 6 figures a year in income from zero. Remember, I was collecting coins, selling beer bottles, beer cans. Very few people know that story. Here's how my imagination continued to work for me. As I got into the industry of networking and marketing and building networks, I went to Calgary knowing one person. One person, his name was Sean. Today we're still very good, close friends. I'm very close with him and his family. And through Sean and using my imagination again in Calgary, when I left, I had 7,000 people in my business, in my network, and it was a travel company. So imagine moving to a part of the Canada I've never been before, and Calgary is a beautiful city in the Rockies, and using my imagination, I was able to see myself building a big team and going to the top of a company with people, and I had 7,000, mostly Filipinos, that joined my business. So again, using my imagination, you know, I've been in relationships that didn't work. You know, I was married at one time, that didn't work. But I never stopped using my imagination that I could get involved with someone phenomenal and be in a great relationship. And I'm still using my imagination to figure that out, because so far, no one has come to the table to partner with me in that and stay the course and be consistent and keeping their word. So I'm still using my imagination in regards to having a personal relationship with an amazing woman. Here's how also I've used my imagination. I went to Vancouver, again, knowing no one. And I got introduced to one person, his name was Suki. And him and I working together and creating stuff, I was able to create a lot on the West Coast as well of Canada. So the reason I'm bringing all of this up is I have been without and I've been with. I remembered open the cupboards and the fridge and there was no food. And I had to eat ketchup and crackers or ketchup and bread for days. Or ask people to buy me groceries. I've been without. Because when you're an entrepreneur, sometimes money is not always coming in boatloads. Sometimes it trickles in. It all depends on how the week went or the month went or activity went. So that's why your imagination has to be so strong and powerful. And I've also been with. I've lived in beautiful homes in beautiful parts of the world, having nice cars, exotic cars. So I've been with. And I've thrown black tie and gown parties, 300, 400, 500 people where I paid for everything. I was also the DJ. So I've been at both ends of the spectrum where I've had and I've had not. And the main thing that was consistent with those situations is I always had my imagination. So it didn't matter where I was or what situation I was in or where I was. I always used my imagination to continue creating and generating more. And so today's lesson for you is to tap into your imagination. You need to start focusing on dreaming and thinking about what you want consistently and then creating it. And to stop looking externally for validation and stop looking externally for things that are here one day, gone the next. You see, one thing about your imagination is it's available to you 24/7, 365. It doesn't shut off. It only shuts off when your brain dies. But while your brain is still active and working, you want to master using your imagination. And so here's some things I used to do. I used to read biographies around people who used their imagination. So Henry Ford, Walt Disney, Richard Branson, my favorite, Nelson Mandela, because when he was imprisoned on Pender Island, he had to use his imagination. He was in prison for 27 years. However, he wanted racial equality for South Africans. He wanted to bring an end to apartheid, which he did. So do you think he had to tap into his imagination while being isolated and in prison for 27 years? Well, it's all he had. He had no cell phone, no fax machine, no pager, no internet, not even letters. He was isolated and imprisoned on an island in the middle of the ocean. So of all the people I've studied in my entire life, next to Walt Disney and Ford and Branson, Nelson Mandela stands out as someone who really, really tapped into his imagination and the power. And did his imagination come to fruition? Did it happen? Well, history shows that yes, apartheid doesn't exist in South Africa anymore. It doesn't exist in any part of the world anymore. So the lesson today is to learn to use your imagination. Read books, watch movies, read biographies, get audiobooks that focus on helping you tap into your imagination. Because once you can master this, anything is possible. Today I'm building an online shopping business with 1 million online subscribers. You think I need my imagination for that? Today, after being single for many, many years, I'm looking to connect with the right woman who gets me, who understands me, who respects me, who wants to learn about me, who wants to partner with me, who is not flaky and wants to run away every time we are dealing with a situation. You think I need to use my imagination to attract such a person? Absolutely. So I am not someone that gives up easily on myself because I have a high self-worth. I think I'm phenomenal, amazing, a great individual. I love people. I treat people great. I love seeing people win. I love seeing people having a great life and enjoying their life and family life and seeing the world and having fun and making a lot of money. So I bring a lot of value to the table when it comes to who I am as a human being. So all I'm looking to do is to connect with the right people who feel the same way. And they're looking for like-minded people like myself to partner up to create a mastermind so we can create together and support one another and help one another. And so do you think I need to use my imagination consistently to attract that? 100%, because here's why. Here's something I need for you to pay close attention to, okay? When everything else around you is falling apart and nothing seems to be working, or it's not happening for you fast enough, do you know the one thing that you have that you can have consistent? Your imagination. You could be in a dungy prison, you could be on top of a mountain, you can be in an isolated cave, you could be in a submarine at the bottom of the ocean, you can be on an island deserted by yourself with no communication cut off from the rest of the world, and you have access to your imagination. And you can get through any situation. Imagine you're remotely marooned on an island. You think you can come up with an idea to hollow out a log and make a boat and figure out how to get some oars and maybe row yourself to safety? It's possible. Using your imagination, you can create tools from elements and rocks and things that are on the island, and you can carve yourself out a boat. I'm thinking of Swiss Family Robinson and how they were able to survive marooned on an island, and there's Treasure Island, and there's lots of other books out there and situations where people got marooned or abandoned and they survived. Why? Because the only thing they had was their imagination. What about, like, for example, the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks, right? How he was able to survive on his imagination. So I think you're getting the point. The point is, never stop working on your imagination with what you want possible, and then backing up your imagination with getting into action with what you want so you can create the results you want. Because the only way to generate the results you want is you got to get your imagination into action. So it's not just great having an imagination and thinking about what you want. You have to move. You have to get yourself into action with what you imagine you want in order to generate the results. So don't be like most people. When you go on their social media, you have conversations with them, all they're doing is talking about what they want. They're talking, blah, 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 blah. Except when you look in on their life, there is no action. So an imagination is only productive and it's only useful and it's only fruitful when you use it to generate what you want, which is the results. So I just wanted to touch on that briefly today because a lot of people are wondering, Anil, what are you doing on the islands? How are you coping with Hurricane Beryl? Because I know where you are, it's happening right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not affected by a hurricane. I'm not affected by anything because my imagination is strong, it's solid. It doesn't matter what comes at me or what the universe throws at me. I have my imagination to get me through anything. And so I want to encourage you to connect with me as well. If you have a problem with your imagination and you don't know how to tap into it, let's talk. I'm a mentor. I help people bring alive their imagination. Because all I do is I share with them what I've been through, what I've been able to deal with and overcome, and how I've trained my brain and my mind to be always in solution mode. I'm rarely in panic mode. It doesn't matter what comes at me, I'm in solution mode. And for those of you that have known what's been going on in my life in the last few years, it hasn't been cherry, it hasn't been peachy. It's been very dark. However, my imagination has gracefully gotten me through whatever I was up against. I've had tremendous loss. I've had people leave my side. I've had people abandon me. I've had people leave me. I've had loss. And I'm still here. Why? Because those things are gone. They're in the past. They had no impact on who I am as a person because I don't let any situation or circumstance define me or anyone's behavior. And through it all, I use my imagination to get me through the storm or the hurricane, you can say. So I wanted to share that today with all of you because I know some of you, you're kind of feeling stuck. You don't know what to do next. You're feeling lost, helpless, hopeless. You're feeling like you're by yourself on your own. I just want to let you know you're not. You got your imagination, and your imagination will never leave you once you figure out how to tap into it and use it to get you into action to generate your results. And so as Anil now Goya stands for get off your ass, I can help you get off your ass using your imagination. So connect with me, reach out to me. If you want to talk to me about what I'm building with my online business to generate 1 million online subscribers, because I want to reach out to 1 million imaginators or people that use your imagination, let's talk. Maybe we can partner up together. Maybe we can have a mastermind together and I can support you in what you're up to and you can support me. And together we can create whatever we want for ourselves and the game we're playing on planet Earth. So again, this is Anil. Remember, God gave you an imagination. Figure it out, master it, learn to use it, let it serve you powerfully in the days ahead. And stop looking externally for anything to keep you moving forward and start learning to be with yourself and be comfortable in your own skin using your imagination to help you get into action to create whatever you want, which we call results. So again, this is Anil, the Action Taker. Have a wonderful day. I wish you the best wherever you are. My best to my Caribbean contacts and those in the US who will be affected by Hurricane Beryl this week. Take care, be safe, stay dry, and continue to use your imagination. Ciao for now.